water supplied by a public municipality or a private well for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. Welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and today we have a special guest. He is a tour manager for in the music industry, and I met him at our Sumter County Fair. And so we're just going to go ahead and jump on in and then meet this guest and see what he's all about. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Greg Withrow. Greg, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. It's good to see you. I'm really thankful for this opportunity. Thanks for asking me to do this. I was very excited actually whenever you asked me if I would be a part of it. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. We had I didn't get to meet you very long. I mean, it was pretty much a day, but it seemed like, a day goes by so quick, but
so fast. Show days are very quick.
They really were. And it was a long day, but it just ended up being very fast as part as like getting to know someone. You're like, oh, you're doing stuff. I'm doing stuff. And, but it was a lot of fun. I can say that, but I wanted to thank you first of all for, taking the time out of your busy schedule and, coming on today. I know that you are very busy. You told me all the jobs you have and all the stuff you're doing now. And, I just, I appreciate your time. So I just want to let you know that.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate this. So, you know what they say, if you want something done, ask a busy man. So, I try to keep myself busy, try to keep myself productive more than busy. So yeah, man, thanks. And this feels productive. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a pleasure of mine to have you on. It was a pleasure of mine to work with you alongside with you at the fair. It was a good time. But I always heard, I was going to add to your thing, if you want something done, just do it yourself. That's what I always heard. I don't know. My dad used to say that all the time.
That's if you want something done right.
That is true. That is so true. So Greg, let me tell you, let's just go back. What I like to do is, I like to get to know our guests, and there's going to be people that are watching us here now there are a few people that there's somebody else that we know, or a couple other people that we know, but there's a lot of people that don't know you. So for the ones who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from and exactly what your job title is. What is it that you do?
Sure. Yeah. So, I live and I'm from West Virginia. Been here just about my whole life. I left for 1 year, lived in Charlotte, took a job there. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to come back home, and I took a job here about 10 years ago now, which is it's funny because you met me touring. So my job is, everywhere right now. I tour with the country band Shenandoah. I act as their tour manager, production manager, and their front of house engineer. So I mix all of the audio that the audience hears. I stand out in the audience, run audio for everyone in the audience to hear what's going on in the show. That's one of my main things that I have going on. I have a few other things going on as well, but that's one of my main things. You can see I'm sitting in a studio right now. I'm actually in the middle of setting up for a session that we have going on tomorrow. And Austin Shenandoah's guitar player is actually coming to play on this session tomorrow. It's a full band day, 10 songs. We'll bust it out, and somebody will leave here with 10 songs ready to put vocals to on their album. Cool. And then they'll come back and do that. But yeah, the gist of what you were saying is I tour manage for Shenandoah, which means I handle all their logistics. So I let them know week to week, because their schedule is more of what we would call in the industry a weekend warrior type schedule. So they stay busy year round as opposed to touring for, 6, 8, 10 weeks at a time with some days off here and there. They do a weekend warrior thing where we're gone just about every weekend. So most weekends of the year, we might take a week off here and there, maybe 2 or 3 for the year, but otherwise we're doing shows every weekend. And it can vary. It could go anywhere from 2 to 5 shows a week. It just depends on what's happening. What what time of the year it is. When we get into fairs and festival season, which is starting now, Sumter County Fair, where I met you, was our first fair for the season. That was a county fair, and we've already done another since then, and that was just a couple weeks ago. We did another one this weekend, so. Tis the season. Fairs and festivals are here, and I enjoy fairs and festival season a lot. I also very much enjoy when we get to play theaters and we're inside in a heated or cooled room. But the gist of it is I take care of all the logistics for the guys as we're traveling. So I'm not the band manager. That needs to be clear. I don't handle business. I don't handle any of the band management stuff. I work directly with management, but my job is just making sure the guys know when the food's ready, and I make sure that the venues know what time we're going to be there. Just run all that stuff and get it all in order and ready to go to make everybody's life as easy as possible on both ends, venue and band side.
Right. What made you get into this? Like, was this something you've always wanted to do? Like the music industry, that is, that not tour manager, but, or touring, but what made you get into this business in the first place? Is this something that your family was into, or did you just all of a sudden, you know what, I've got this great idea. This is what I'm going to do.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you asked that question. I'm sitting in the studio because when I was a kid, my dad played drums and he sang in this in a gospel band, and I was always intrigued. Every little boy wants to be like their dad. Yeah. So as far back as I can remember, there was always drums at the house, and so I would always beat and bang around on drums, real drums, not pots and pans. So there's a picture of me somewhere with a cheese puff in one hand and a spoon in the other. And I'm on top of a snare drum in our living room floor as I'm in a diaper. It's just me in a diaper, spoon in one hand, cheese puff in the other. And I'm playing this snare drum that my dad just had laying around. He just always made it available to me. So my dad playing in that gospel band, he would always take me with him to what we would call now their shows, to be a part of that. And I would help him set up his drum kit. And this is as far back as I can remember. My earliest childhood memories are just traveling and playing music at different churches with my dad in different venues, theaters, varying things. So from an early age, I've just been around it and involved. And I remember very well right here where I'm sitting, this console was still here. The engineer that owned the studio at the time, my dad's gospel band came here and recorded, and the engineer he's a really kind man. He's honestly one of my friends today. He lives just behind the studio here. He's my neighbor and my friend. We work together a lot. He still comes down here and records quite a bit. And
that's cool.
Yeah. So I was sitting right here, and he was on my right, and I was just sitting here. I wasn't saying anything. He just looked over and said, "You can ask any question you want." He said, "There's no such thing as a stupid or a dumb question," is what he said. And he's just hitting buttons and turning knobs and stuff. And there used to be a real tape machine in here at the time, a 2-inch Studer 24-track tape machine. Is if for any musicians, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Sounds expensive.
Very much so. Very much so. It still is very expensive now that all the vintage stuff is coming back. And it's still around, actually. It's here on the property.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's super fun. But he was running the tape machine. He had a controller that sat over here. The tape machine sat back in the studio. And I remember watching him turn knobs, and I heard like what was happening when he would turn the knobs, and it was literally this exact console, this audio console, and I was hearing what was happening, and I was just that moment I was very intrigued by this side of things. And then what blew my mind is when one of the musicians made a mistake, and they kept going, kept recording, and it was my dad. He was playing drums. He had made a small mistake. It wasn't anything serious. And the engineer hit the button, and the talkback mic came on, and he asked my dad if he wanted to go back and punch that section. And what that means is just the drums can go back and fix that section. And I think I was 8, I was 7 or 8 years old at the time. My mind was blown that my dad could go back and fix this part of the song that he had just made the mistake on, because I had never seen that. But since that day, I've been very obsessed with like recording and music and just all aspects of it. And I think it's important to say too, excuse me, within a couple years, I had started playing drums in that same gospel band. My dad was a bass singer, and the band was not a quartet, so it didn't really, the bass singing didn't really fit in. So he ended up leaving that band and singing for a gospel quartet, and I stayed and played drums. So from the time that I think I was 11 whenever he quit that gospel band and started singing for a gospel quartet. From 11 till I was in my 20s, I was traveling with this other family that became like family to me, while my dad was off traveling with another gospel quartet. So this is all I've ever known is the long answer to all of this. I've just been around it my whole life. So I've ridden on a bus since I can remember. I'm trying to think of, like some early memories that I could tell you about. I slept through a bus wreck once when I was a kid. I was in the front lounge. Hey. Buses have lounges. They have a front lounge and a rear lounge typically. Sometimes there's a bed in the back, but this particular setup was a front lounge, rear lounge, and the bunks were in the middle. And I had fallen asleep on the couch, and the bus was rolling down the highway, and everybody else was in their bunks. And I should say it was a bus accident more than a wreck. They hit a pothole so big that it shattered the windshield on the bus and bent the frame. Yeah, it bent the frame on the bus, and it knocked a few people out of their bunks. But I stayed asleep on the couch and slept through it. I think I might have been 12 at that time, 11, when that happened, somewhere in there. But that's a pretty funny story. Yeah, interesting story.
I think I hit the same pothole the other day in Webster. It was they're redoing. This is no lie. They're redoing the like sewer and the water lines and stuff, and they're repaving it. And I kid you not, Greg, this hole is literally, they put a traffic cone inside, and you can't see probably 5 inches of it.
No way.
Yeah. And I hit that thing the speed limit's 25 or 30, and I wasn't going very fast, but there was somebody else. The road's not very big to begin with down this certain road. There's a lot of trees on the sides of the road, and I'm going, and somebody's coming the other direction, and I can't see it, so I just think it's part of the road, and I hit this thing, and I'm telling you, it was, man, I thought I actually stopped the vehicle, got out, and made sure that the tire was still there. Like, I thought it was gone. I mean, it was bad.
Did it do any damage to your vehicle?
No, it didn't. That's the first thing I looked.
Oh, my.
And then that's when they put the traffic cone in there. That traffic cone was not there, or I would have seen it slowed down, whatever. There was no cone there.
Wow.
And I was like, I hit that thing, bam, and just like, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like stuff in the back of the car where it was all like you said, people fell out of their bunks. It jolted. It was like, it was unbelievable. It was crazy.
Oh man. Did you have anything like over your visor that fell out on you or anything?
No. Thank God. Or it probably would have knocked me out. Drive over to hit the tree or something. No, it was fine. But I was like, oh my gosh, I bet my alignment's like messed up now. But
absolutely has to
It's crazy though, but that's something that you'll never forget. Those little things like that. Like we always share those things where you're like when you're young and you get to experience things like that. Like you'll never forget you being on that bus and all of a sudden, you slipped through it, so you really don't remember it. But you know what I'm saying? Everybody kind of told you what happened. But
yeah,
that's crazy.
I woke up when all the commotion started. People were coming to the front lounge like, "What's going on?" And
what's going on?
And I got to be careful telling that story because I have some friends that have actually been in real bus accidents. Actually, the bass player that'll be here tomorrow for the session, he plays bass for John Michael Montgomery, and they had an actual bus accident. The bus rolled over on its side. So
that was Austin, right?
What's that?
Was that Austin?
No, it wasn't Austin.
Okay.
His name is Ray.
Okay.
Ray, yeah, Ray's a good buddy of mine. And we just live a couple hours, an hour and a half from each other, which is kind of crazy. It's really kind of crazy. The area that I live in is just kind of a real petri dish, if you will, for talent, for musical talent. It's really a blessing. It's really kind of cool. Yeah. And I try to do what I can to cultivate that as well, because I remember the adults that like poured into my life within this, helping me learn to be a better human as well as be a better musician, whatever that looked like. And so tomorrow there's a young kid that's coming to, I say young kid, he's a high school kid. He's coming to just observe the session. He and his family's actually come here to record once, and he's just taken a real liking to it. And I've connected him with Austin, Shenandoah's guitar player. They're doing lessons together now and different things. So it's really kind of cool. I enjoy that. I feel like it's important to do that. I feel like my life is kind of designed to help other people, to kind of cultivate whatever they're trying to learn and be. If I can help with that, I always want to, in whatever capacity that means, whatever that looks like. So yeah, me and Austin invited this kid out. He's going to come and observe the session, and we'll probably set him down there in the live room beside Austin and put him some headphones in there and let him watch what Austin does and how he talks to everybody. Because being around it's important. Because it's one thing if you can play by yourself in your bedroom. I've seen some really talented musicians that only took it that far because they missed the part of the the real world experience with how to apply what they've learned, if that makes sense. So try to help with that.
Speaking of like in studio stuff, I was telling Austin and Brad rode with me back, and we were talking about how I didn't know till like recently that your band that's in the studio is the studio band, and the band that's on tour with you is your tour band. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that is a common.
Just assumed.
Yeah, that's a common setup, but there are times where it crosses over. So, like our friends, Little Texas, that band, their drummer Dale, he played on all of their studio stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure they can. I just I'd say majority of the time they do that. And I was like,
right.
What?
You're right.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
Because the studio is different. It's a creative space, whereas the live band is replicating what has already been created.
Right.
So, and some people can cross that over, some people can't. To each their own. Whatever you're good at, go do that. But studio musicians are a different breed. And most good studio musicians, that's all they're doing is playing in the studio.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And that's probably what they want, because they get to sleep in their bed at the end of the day. And, they only work their 3 sessions, the 10, 2, and 6 in Nashville, and they're done by 9 or 10 p.m. every night, and they start at 10 a.m. the next morning. So
that's so crazy. I just I assume that these guys in the studio are the ones that just didn't want to be on stage, that they want to be around people. So let's cut it. Let's cut it in the studio, and then you guys can go out there and have fun. Like these older guys that have been around for a while, like Like, like you're thinking of some old, back in the old days, like you got the old guys and they're sitting down like, let's cut this track real quick and then let the boys go out on tour.
Most of the time it is older guys in the studio, the older, more seasoned guys, as we would say.
Yep.
That is typically the case because their repertoire, the tools that they have in their tool bag are much greater. We'll say that, they know a few more things. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I figured that, that might come into play, but I was like, I don't want to discredit anybody. If they anybody who does any of that's so talented to begin with that, it's unbelievable the amount of talent that it takes. You stand back and you think about this, you're like, you look at somebody playing the guitar and then you look at somebody while they're playing the guitar and you go, it can't be that hard, but I can't do it.
That's like, right.
It looks so simple, but that's just because they're that good.
That's right. Yeah, man. Man, we've talked about Austin and Brad, and
good guys. Good guys,
great. Yeah.
Great guys.
Austin plays guitar for Shenandoah. He plays all the lead electric stuff. And then Brad is our keyboard player. He plays all the organ, piano, synth, all that stuff for the band. And those guys are hyper talented. I'm telling you, hyper talented. Yeah. They're on sessions regularly. Yeah. As young as they are, Brad, he plays sessions just about every day. When he's not on tour with us, he's at the studio playing a session for somebody. Sure. Or doing overdubs at home. I'm telling you, hyper talented. Same for Austin. He's always busy. He's either teaching a lesson. He's a professor for a college. He doesn't tell many people that.
What?
Yeah, he is.
He didn't tell me that.
It's all remote, so it's all remote learning. Like he teaches this musical. I don't know what the classes are. Some kind of musical classes. He's teaching remotely for these kids, and he's always playing sessions. So he's coming here tomorrow to play a session for us, which I'm very excited about because we work together a lot. We're going to know how to communicate. Yeah. In the studio, communication is very important. That's life in general, I guess, right? But communication is really important. Back to the studio band, live band situation. Sometimes you get some studio guys that do want to tour. They end up touring, and then when they're done touring, they come back and start playing sessions again.
I hate to keep flip flopping, but the two, Austin and Brad, they're really, really great guys. You have to tell them I said what's up.
Dude, for sure.
Yeah, they're really cool. I actually, when I was waiting on them, Austin got in the van and we were talking, and I was like playing some different people that because I drive a lot for my job, and I listen to a lot of either podcasts, obviously, surprise, or I'll listen to music that I try to get different things, and I'm the kind of person like life is I treat it like a movie where everything has a playlist. So if I go to the beach, I have to have a playlist. If I go here, I gotta have a playlist. Like if I it just depends on whatever it is.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so I'm
with you.
Well, thank you. Somebody get
I get it.
My wife's like, don't we hear this song all the time? I'm like, but it's the beach song. You gotta play.
Yeah, dude. When I get on my motorcycle, I have a playlist for it. When it's time to roll the windows down, I've got a playlist for it. Yeah, I'm with you.
Absolutely, it's themed. You got to do it. But when I got to meet those two guys, they were, I was telling you, Austin, I was like, here's this guy, and I play some music. He's like, man, that sounds really good. I was like, oh, well, I'm glad you like it. Like it wasn't me, but I was like, oh, okay. At least my music doesn't suck. I mean,
yeah, man, you wouldn't believe. I don't think we've told your viewers you were our driver for the day. You were our runner. You were taking us to the everywhere we had to go for the day, right. Which was a real pleasure because you and I were in the van a little bit going to and from the hotel, getting the guys to the hotel, and I had to get them checked in and whatnot. We had great conversation. I really enjoyed that. But it's funny. A lot of runners just assume that because it's a country band, they need to play country music. And what they don't process is that they're musicians.
Yeah.
They like everything. Yeah. So it's just funny. We'll get in a van or, whatever SUV. And it's always like, straight to 90s country. Like we don't hear that every day already. Now, with that being said, I'm a big 90s country fan.
Me too.
Like actually, so country music in general for me, but I like that's like soul food for me, I think. Is the best way to say it. So like, you know, you're late night driving and you need something that just like that brings you home, you know. 90s country every time.
And I'm so glad that I deterred from putting my 90s mix on there, because it probably would have played 2 Dozen Roses and Moon Over Georgia. That's my wife and I, our favorite song, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was funny because she was at the concert and Marty had that couple come on stage and do the slow dance for their anniversary.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Don't ever do that to me." She's not an attention person at all. So
gotcha.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following: Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing gear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Pennsauken's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and puff. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app. Looking for custom apparel that stands out? Welcome to the Stitching Heifers, Bushnell's premier embroidery and custom apparel shop. From custom hats, t-shirts, and jackets to unique gifts and business branding, we specialize in high-quality, personalized apparel that reflects your style and vision. Step into our exclusive hat bar and design your one-of-a-kind custom hat, perfect for personal flair or promoting your brand. At the Stitching Heifers, we're committed to bringing your ideas to life with exceptional service and attention to detail. Whether it's for you, your business, or a thoughtful gift, we're your trusted partner for all things custom in the heart of Sumter County. Stop by today or visit us online to get started. The Stitching Heifers, custom style, local heart. When it comes to building in Sumter County, experience matters. From remodels, barns, additions, and accessory buildings to creating the custom home of your dreams, our Hogan Construction delivers quality you can trust. Russell is hands-on and on-site daily, going above and beyond to ensure the project isn't just completed, but crafted to perfection. He doesn't just meet expectations, he exceeds them. For a builder who puts integrity and craftsmanship first, call R. Hogan Construction today at 352-793-7660. Russell Hogan Construction. Built on tradition, built to last. Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Pennsauken and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Duto Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it, helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right. Promotional consideration paid for by the following: Travelin' Tom's Coffee Truck, the delicious mobile coffee truck that brings you the caffeination inspiration you need. We deliver signature coffee products like our Nitro Cold Brew and Caramel Frappe to any occasion or festivity. And for those who don't like coffee, we offer a variety of delicious hot chocolates, energy drinks, lemonades, and teas. That's Traveling Tom's Coffee Truck. Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Traveling Tom's Coffee Truck, the delicious mobile coffee truck that brings you the caffeination inspiration you need. We deliver signature coffee products like our Nitro Cold Brew and Caramel Frappe to any occasion or festivity. And for those who don't like coffee, we offer a variety of delicious hot chocolates, energy drinks, lemonades, and teas. That's Traveling Tom's Coffee Truck.
You know that was completely unplanned, right? Did you gather that?
I either had I either knew that it was I was like, oh, they probably got it. This is something that they worked on, or this is something so sporadic that I'm just like, let it roll. Let's go with it.
It was off the cuff completely. He just happened to see him over there dancing, and I don't even know what transpired. He just said, "Come up here. Let's come up on stage and dance for us."
Come on down. I mean, it was awesome. Don't get me wrong. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a cool sight. But my wife's like, she would be so and it's nothing was wrong, but she was it was something that she it's an attention thing for her. She don't like all the attention. She's the behind the scenes person. She wants to be no recognition. And I'm the one that's like, hey. No, I was just kidding.
So you got a camera and set it up in your spot there, so the whole world could see you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As if the podcast isn't enough for you to tell. Yeah, whatever. No,
that's funny, man.
It's one of those things where you just people will. There's two types of people. There's the people that like me, where they're very friendly, whatever. And then there's people that are want to keep to themselves, and either one's fine. There are days where I want to keep to myself. People think I'm upset, or they're like, "What's wrong, man? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I'm like, nothing is wrong. Nothing's wrong. Can't I just have a moment?
Yeah. Right.
I just say it's downtime. I'm having some downtime.
I have another friend of mine, a tour manager for another country artist that he as the TM, the tour manager, you communicate with everybody about something all day. Like, you're communicating with everybody on that bus about something, whether it's letting them know dinner, so they're used to you always being right there all the time. Right. And after the show, you're typically on the bus, settling up whatever's going on for the day, putting stuff away, putting bus stuff. There's so many different things going on. So you're always up doing stuff. And in the middle of a tour, my buddy, his show was over and bus started heading down the highway. Instead of hanging out with everybody in the lounge, he just went to his bunk because he just wanted some time to himself. Totally get it. We all go through that. And they immediately were like, yeah, buddy, are you okay? Is everything good? And he's like, yes, I'm fine. Leave me alone. I'm not going to be fine if you don't leave me alone.
He's like, ask me again. See what happens.
Right. I was fine until you kept asking.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the married life. What's wrong? What's wrong? Yes, you ask your wife, the old saying, I asked my wife what's wrong, and she doesn't answer. It's me. It's it's something I've done. I can't figure out what I've done.
That's funny.
No, like I said, great time at the fair. It was awesome. I don't know how. I mean, that's my kind of like my deal. Like I love the whole production type thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Production value in the show. I'm always a behind the scenes kind of guy. Like what makes this work? What are you doing? Like when you were doing the sound stuff, I went out there and I listened, and it's kind of cool to be a part of that, where you normally just show up and it's already there. People don't want to know how the sausage is made. They just want to eat the sausage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and
they don't care about,
because if you sometimes you see inside the kitchen that sausage was made in, you wouldn't want to take part of it. I've always said that some people are not made to see behind that kitchen door. You see what's behind the kitchen door, and it'll ruin the meal for you. It's the same thing with music.
But I don't care how it was made. Just put it on the plate and give me a knife and fork.
Yeah. Don't show me the inspection for your cleanliness either. Just give me the food.
I'm not reading the reviews on the on Google or anything. Man. Let me ask you this: do you know what a roach coach is?
A roach coach?
Yeah, roach coach.
I don't.
I'm gonna test your knowledge here. Have you ever been in a construction like area and you see the little wagon that drives around that's got the food or drinks?
Yeah.
That it's got like a topper in the back. It's got the sides that flip up.
Yeah.
That's what people call the roach coach.
I've never heard that.
But I'm telling you, I used to do yards back in the day. Like I used to landscape and fertilize brand new yards and stuff. And there would be new developments like this. The houses are just being built, and then past that is like they're just laying the block. Some of the foundations being built, the footers are dug as they keep going on and on. Well, I'm out there. They just put my job was a new house. They put new sod on it, and I would fertilize it. That was the job. Nobody lives there yet. They haven't even sold the house. Just my job was to fertilize that grass. Okay. Well, you're out there. Like I said, there's nobody there except for the construction workers. And all of a sudden, I've been out there in the middle. I'm telling you, Greg, in the middle of nowhere. It's like, it's July, August, the sun's beating down. You're about to die. I got long sleeve shirts on, and this is how I became wearing long sleeve all the time. Long sleeve shirts. You got rubber boots on because you're walking around on the grass with fertilizer, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you look over in the distance and here comes the roach coach. and you're like, yes, thank God. I tell people that all the time, like, a roach coach has saved my life more than once.
It brings a whole new thing to it for me now, learning roach coach. That's hilarious.
That's what we call it. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell you where I got that from or who actually said it the first time, but we call it the roach coach. And it's like, but I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, that's just the way it is. That's what they call it. And I'm telling you, I've been there, Greg, where I've about to die of thirst. And like I said, the shining beacon coming at you. You're like, thank God you saved me just in the nick of time.
Oh man, the roach coach.
But that's what when you said you don't want to see what goes behind the door, how the inspection and everything would be. That's exactly what I thought it was the roach coach.
That's great. I'm so glad you shared that with me.
You have to ask all the guys. Do y'all know what a roach coach is?
Yeah, when I get on the bus Thursday, I'm going to ask them. You guys heard of this?
It's a thing. This is a thing down in Florida. We missed out when we were there. We should have drove by a roach coach on the way to the hotel.
Absolutely. You got some tamales?
Yes. What did I get one time? Oh, and you got to get the green salsa, man. It's great.
Bro, I'm a big fan of green salsa.
Dude, that green salsa is legit, man. I'm telling you. It's not, we're not playing around when you put that on there.
All right. Man, there's this green sauce that my local Mexican restaurant puts on their shrimp enchiladas. And that's literally the only reason I get it is because of that green sauce. I love it so much. This is no joke. You know how you get sick and, you get sick after you eat something. It wasn't because of that. You just ended up with a stomach bug or something, and you can't eat that again for a while because what happens after. I love this so much that recently I got sick the day after eating it. and I was for a day or two, and I was very ill, and I still craved it after, and I have had it 2 or 3 times since. Like it's just, and that's typically I'm the guy that like if I get sick, I still cannot eat pumpkin stuff. Like I can't do pumpkin pie and whatnot because I ended up becoming ill after I had some pumpkin cheesecake.
Oh yeah,
and I still cannot stand the thought of eating anything pumpkin. That was 10 years ago.
Bro, when was this? Probably about 7 years ago. I was in line at Subway, and there was a guy ahead of me that I knew, and he was giving the guy making sandwiches a hard time. He was like, "Come on, man, you're taking forever," one of those deals. And you're like, "Come on, dude, he's going as fast as he can," whatever. But you don't say anything. You're just like, "Yeah." you're in agreement. You're like, yeah. Yeah, looking around like, oh wait, did I just say that out loud?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you are. You're taking forever. And anyways, he gives the guy his food. He gives me my food. And we're not even together. Like it's somebody I know. He would just like casually look back and be like, "Hey, how's your mom?" And then blah blah. Yeah. And I ate that sandwich, bro. And like not even an hour later, I was sick.
Oh no.
I was like, I don't know what he did to the sandwich, man. I don't know what he did, but I was like, dude, I don't think I
immediately his fault.
It was psychosomatically. I could have been like, the food could have been bad. I mean, it could have been, I could have got food poisoning, but he probably didn't have anything to do with that. But I haven't been to Subway in 7 years, so
yeah, okay, I get it.
So when people go, let's go to Subway, I'm like,
nah,
I think that's a hard pass. Let me get that pub sub.
I had an HR director at a place that I worked for a small period of time that's all he would want to do for lunch was Subway because you didn't have to tip. He was a real cheap man. He was real frugal, so he'd get like whatever the cheapest thing was, and he wouldn't have to tip, so he would go there.
He's like, let me go there and get that $5 foot long combo. Greg, I'm going to tell you something, and it's funny that you say that about tipping is because I was just thinking about this today. I wasn't a tipper. I didn't really think about it. Anyways, like when if you go pick up, say you go to a pizza place or whatever, and you call it in, you're like, I'm going to come get it, and you walk in there. Do you normally tip?
I do.
You do? Okay. Yeah. Thank you for making me feel bad. Because I normally wouldn't. I just didn't see why
the value. Like, what's the return on that investment? Why? I get it.
Because they didn't bring it to my house. That's different. And, I've always said this too. Like say you're at like, I don't know, like Outback Steakhouse or something like that, like a sit down steakhouse, whatever, any sit down restaurant. What normally happens? You order with one person, the other person brings you your food, and then chances are, like, if you're and they're not real busy, somebody else is going to come by and fill your drink up for you or get you another drink or whatever.
Possibly, so
3 people. So you're like, my God, this is going to be really expensive. So like, do you like I was like, do they share the tip, or do I just tip one person? I mean, I want to be fair, but I never did it for that reason. And then I started listening to Joe Rogan because this is how this all came about. But Joe Rogan, and I know Joe Rogan has tons of money. Okay. So it's not a big deal to him, but it made me think. He says, show him a little bit of love. Just give him a little love bumble, So I always tip very well now, even if I tip very good. Even if I don't tip them like they always try to if you look at the bill, they break it down for you because they're tired of waiting on people to do the math. So yeah. So they're like, all right, here's the 18%, 20%, 25%. We're not telling you to do it, but we're hoping you go for the 25%. It's like the unleaded Supreme or premium. Supreme. We ain't going but for the 87 octane. That's what we're doing. We're going for that. But no, I like to do that from time to time. But
I'm with you on the tipping thing. It's always been important to me. And I think it started, I say always, I think the importance of it started, there was a particular artist that I was working for early in my career. I think it was about 2010. And he would always tip very well whenever we were out to eat somewhere. Right. And he kind of said the same thing, like, just, it's not going to hurt. It's a few bucks at the end of the day. Like, right. And that may be the difference in that server possibly paying their electric bill that month or being short on it, Yeah. And when he said it that way, that's when it was kind of like, all right, yeah, I think I could handle this. Like, so I've just since then I've found it important to be a good tipper. And a few times people have come back and thanked me for it because of those reasons. Like, right. They don't know how they're going to make ends meet at the end of the month. And man, I think about this all the time. Like, none of us are exempt. I could wake up tomorrow and everything that I feel I have been blessed with, my family, have a wife and 3 kids that are always here when I get back. They're over at the house right now. The house is just across the driveway from my studio. We're on the same piece of property. And how crazy is it that I'm working? My kids came home from school today. My wife picked them up and they were able to run over to the studio and see me real quick. Like, not a lot of dads get that, right. Because they're working. They're off working in the field somewhere or at a plant or something. Anyways, all that to say, none of us are exempt. So, I think sharing the blessing is important. Yeah. And I say that genuinely, carefully. I think everyone needs to work and needs to work hard. And I think servers do typically work hard. So I think that hard work needs to be rewarded. I'm a big believer in hard work and productivity. So, I got home yesterday, around 1:30 in the afternoon from being gone, for the shows that Shenandoah had this weekend. And, as soon as I got back, I was loving on my kids and my wife and making sure they knew how much I loved them and cared about them. But I was in here immediately working in the studio, getting ready for stuff we had going on this week, some songs I'm getting mixed and whatnot. And, sorry, I'm rambling now. I know that. No, all that to say, I think it's important to work hard and share the blessing.
No, I think that's a very important thing that you're discussing is family, because there's a lot of people that don't get to do that anymore. They're, like you said, they're commuting. They have like a 2-hour commute, just to have a decent job that they can, have the wages to pay for their groceries and rent, power, whatever may have you. And sometimes there are a lot of people who are able to, go and do things with their family or be near their family. Like you say, you might be you might be off for a couple of days where you don't see them, but you're able to continue to come back home, like instead of like doing like a 10-week tour or something like that, where you're gone constantly. Yeah. So I get that. Honestly, that was really one of the biggest reasons I was able to do the Shenandoah gig when the opportunity popped up about 1.5 years ago now. I didn't want to go back on the road because I had done that. And, I have other things going on. I worked full time at a church for 8 years, and I enjoyed it. What I really enjoyed and what I really miss now are the people that I worked with, getting to see them every day. Because I'm a big believer in relationships. I think relationships are everything. I believe that is why God designed us, is so we could all have a relationship and, fill voids in each other's lives and be, be able to shoulder whatever loads others can't. I can provide
whatever I can in a friendship, and my friends can provide whatever they can in a friendship. We all take care of one another. That's just, I believe that firmly. Anyways, so I've always worked hard to cultivate good relationships. And when this opportunity popped up, it worked out well with family time, because all the guys have families, and a couple of them have grandkids now, and those relationships are very important to each of us individually for our families. And I'll never forget this. I don't know that I've ever told Marty this, but one of my first weekends out, I got up before everyone else, and I was FaceTiming with my kids, and one of my first weekends out with them, and Marty had woke up and come up out of his bunk up into the front lounge, and he didn't say anything. He let me finish my conversation with my kids, and they went on to school, and Casey, my wife, took them on to school, and we got off the phone. And then as soon as I hung up, he turned around and he said, "That's a good thing, buddy. You need to take care of that." That's all he said. Just made sure I knew where he stood with the importance of family. Oh, yeah. And that's always kind of in the back of my mind. And I could go on and on days for how blessed I am to have certain people in my life. I don't know how you believe in where your faith might lie, but I choose, my faith is in Jesus. That's my faith. And I've prayed for wisdom, and it is mind blowing to me the amount of people that God has placed in my path at the right time on the journey to help me with the wisdom that is needed for a situation. Because it's one thing. I don't want to ask somebody for money. I want to know how they got their money. You know what I mean? And it takes more than I don't even know how to say it. There's a lot of wisdom involved for somebody to become wealthy,
right,
and maintain it. And it's not about money. And there's just a much bigger picture here with when you have kids and family, and the Lord has been, I believe, giving me a lot of really amazing people in my life to show me that wisdom aspect whenever I'm needing it, when I need it.
Absolutely. I heard something the other day. You'll like this. I heard something the other day. I always scroll through, Facebook or Instagram, the reels, and some of the reels that you watch are very, very uplifting. They're very motivational. And one of them said, and I can't tell you who the guy was that said it, but he basically said, if you were to, if God were to answer your prayers, everything that you say in 1 week, just everything was yes. Are you praying for the right things?
True, yeah.
Are you praying for, the good things in life? Are you praying for like the people that to take care of different people, racism and all the different categories that we face on a daily on a daily grind? Are we really praying for the right things? Like, what are you really praying for?
Yeah.
Could you say that everything you prayed for would be something that you really, really need, or is it something that you need to work on?
That's a really good thought.
And it was really cool. Stuff like that makes you think, as simple as that is, if someone were to grant you everything you needed, would you really be happy or satisfied with what you've been asking for? I mean, it's just, some of the things that you think of, you're like, man, that's just, maybe I shouldn't have asked for that, and it's nothing bad. It's just, you thought it was a top priority at the time, and it's really not compared to what other people have or what they're facing.
Yeah.
What there's someone said, they took prayer out of school. That's the only way I made it out of high school.
Bro, I'm a testament of that. I want to tell you.
I heard that and I go, bro, that's me. Like, please let me pass this test. Please let me get a passing grade.
Bro, I'm telling you, when I tell you God is the only reason I graduated, let me tell you this story real quick. So I was I was doomed in high school. I goofed off too much, and I was just so far behind. When it came to my senior, you too, okay. When it came to my senior year, I was so far behind that I had to take. Most people had time off during the day. They had all their stuff done, so they took what they had to their senior year, and they had like 2 or 3 blocks. We had block scheduling, so we had 4 blocks in a day that you could take 4 classes that day, and then second half of the year, second semester, we did 4 different classes for that semester. So we would do 8 classes in a year is how it was set up when I was there. Brother, I was taking all 4 blocks and a 5th block after school and online courses my senior year to make up all the stuff that I had just messed up the other 3 years. Well, the 5th block teacher was for English. It was for like 10th grade, 9th grade English or something. And I'm in 12th grade. And the 5th block teacher was like, all right, I understand that this is probably a struggle for you. And we kind of got to know each other because I had her for another class as well during the day for like, so I don't know. I had probably her during the day for 9th grade and had her in the evening for 10th grade. Who knows? I don't remember now, but we got to know each other pretty well because I was there for 3 hours out of the day, 3 or 4 hours out of the day in her classroom. Half the school day was literally in her classroom. So I was reading my Bible one day and she was like, all right, so you know a little bit about the Bible, right? And she's like, all right, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to pick a book and you're just going to write me an essay on it. I was like, okay, I can do this. And because she understood the struggles that I was having with that class. And she also understood my workload. It's completely my fault. And then after 5th block, I would go work a part-time job in the evening. So she had me do that. Well, then the online course that I was taking to help make up whatever other class was another English class. And that teacher went to my church. So she was like, hey, I had your name pop up on the roster today. Instead of doing classwork, I have some computer work that needs done. If you could just do that for me, I'll give you a passing grade. So that's what I did. And all it was making all of her, she had like virtual copies of books that she needed to be put like on the cloud, basically online. So I just went through and copied and pasted all of the pages of every book. And it took me a very long time, but nonetheless, I'm telling you, I firmly believe God orchestrated that for me.
Bro, when you started talking, it sounded like you took a page out of my book. Like I really thought you were talking about my high school career because I hated school. I was there for the social part of the school. I had my friends, and I was there just to, hang out with the boys, or my friends. I could not. I don't know if maybe I had like an attention span that wasn't very good, but where I couldn't focus. Like
I definitely did. That was me. That was my problem.
I'm going to be honest with you. I really can't sit down and read a book. As bad as that sounds, I can't focus enough where I keep reading the same stuff over and over. So I'll get so far. It's so weird. I'll get so far and then I'll be like, oh wait, I've already read that. And I was like, all right, go to the next. Oh wait, I already read that one too. Like in my mind, I don't know why it's doing that, and I don't know if I have like a form of dyslexia where I want to put things back flip flop, because there are times where I'll say things and it'll be completely backwards. Or whatever, and I don't know if that dominated while I was in high school, but I don't know why I don't know why I didn't want to be better. I just showed up and did what I had to do to get a passing grade, and exactly the same way I had to make up courses. We had an Excel lab, which was a computer lab, and basically I made up, I think, 2 credits in this Excel lab, and I think 2 years I had to go to summer school.
I did summer school as well.
Yeah, see, and it was like, when
so
you're
in the lab, they were letting you make up other classes.
Yeah, the ones that I failed. I had to make it, which, like science is like, all right, here's science on the computer. There's nothing. It was just all like vocabulary and whatever, just make up stuff. And I got all that done, but I had to make up a Spanish credit. You'll love this story.
Oh boy.
So my junior year in high school, I took Spanish, and okay, so just to be clear, Spanish in Florida, it would be awesome. Dead serious. It would be awesome if you could learn Mexico Spanish or Cuban Spanish, or Puerto Rican Spanish. But what you do learn is Madrid, which is like, it's like speaking the King's English. So it's like speaking the King's English and everybody else is not talking the same way. So you're like, when you're asking questions, people have they can't really follow you because they don't know what you're saying, because you're talking like somebody from another country.
Yeah.
But it's Spanish, they're like, it's Spanish.
Yeah, different dialect.
But it's not this. Yes, exactly. It's not even the same. But I learned more when I worked at Disney. I learned more Spanish, French, and Japanese than I would have ever thought I would have, because I worked at Epcot and I just asked questions. How do you say this? How do you say that? We just went to Epcot not long ago, and I went to the Japan pavilion, and I was speaking Japanese to the lady as she's handing me my drink, and everybody was looking at me like, "Who is this guy?" Like, whoa, like what? Who? Yeah, and they actually kind of laughed because they were like, it was weird. They were kind of impressed, but they were like, "How do you know this?" And I was like, "It's because I really wanted to learn that." Nothing in high school made me really want to, focus on something that was. Now don't get me wrong. History was one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite subjects. I loved history. I never got a bad grade in history, but all the others, I had a not a bad grade, but a decent grade in English. And so when I failed my Spanish, my mom's like, "Billy," and I'm like, "Mom, I could barely pass English. You want me to take on another language?" Thanks for watching this part 1 of a 3-part podcast. Stay tuned for part 2 and part 3 coming soon.